Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Grit Daily Startup Show with your host, Leonard Kim. Today we have Vlad Yanchenko on the line with us, and he's the CEO of Machinet. And before we get into introducing him, I wanted to kind of lay out the landscape of what AI has kind of turned into lately. You see, Google, they're getting rid of all their Python employees. All these CEOs of different companies are saying, developers might even become irrelevant in the future as AI continues to grow. And what Machinet kind of does is it allows agents to go out there and use a lot of the programming languages. So, Vlad, before you got into this, can you tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about your journey and what you were doing before, and how that kind of led you into becoming CEO of Machinet and developing what you're doing in this AI movement?
Yeah, it was quite of a journey. I was doing so many things. So if I take a step back, I'm an engineer at the core with a master's degree, but I was working in a different fields. For example, I was trading stock market professionally. Then I was a data scientist in a great IT company. And then I was trying to build my own startups. One of them was creating a new brain-computer interface. So it was a different spheres, different projects, etc. But like eventually, I just started to notice that like my biggest energy release goes to AI and software.
Yeah.
So we at some point we decided, all right, so we will focus on AI, and we will try to do something in software creation. Maybe it's a dev tool like we are doing in Machinet, but maybe it's something else. But we decided to focus on AI and software. And right now,
So
I see like yeah, you mentioned right. It's a crazy market. I don't know how to describe it in a different terms. It's a lot of competition and a paradigm shift.
Well, what you said when you started out your career, moving from the stock market to here, I mean, 90% of people who get into the stock market fail. So that really kind of emphasizes the skills that you have in developing, predicting trends and figuring out how things move. A lot of human psychology with that as well. And AI
Hmm.
is kind of a new thing, but then there were subgroups out there who were kind of buying into AI beforehand due to like machine learning and predictive analytics. When were you first
Yeah.
introduced to that topic of AI and predictive learning and machine learning and so forth?
Yeah, probably like 10 or 12 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So I was working, like I was trying to create a trading algorithm, and that was my first touch of AI. So I was trying to build an AI model which can help me to trade stock market. And then I just understood that, all right, so building the fact that I'm building these models, was building these models, it's much more interesting to me than just to trade market. And I mean, to trade stocks, it's kind of you have to understand that you're creating very little, right? You just and startups is kind of an opposite. You're trying to create value constantly,
Okay.
and it was very appealing to me to be a creator, not just a trader or transferring money from one place to another.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trading and you're building programs, you're just building small algorithms that are kind of contained into small little movements. But if you have the ability to go out there and build something like AI, like the world's kind of at your fingertips. What could you make? It's more like what can't you kind of make with that? I've been using
Yeah.
ChatGPT over the last week to really make like meal plans and put contingencies and everything in there. It's pretty remarkable what it's able to really be able to do and how detailed it is to come out. And with an open learning platform like that, like you have so many different variables that can kind of come into it. So it kind of makes it a pretty cool thing for an end consumer to use. But if you started back in about 10 to 12 years ago with
Hmm.
AI, like it really took off maybe what, 2, 3 years ago. What were
Yeah.
those 9 years like?
Yeah. I mean, AI was it was almost clear. It was pretty clear to me that AI eventually will win, just because on the traditional benchmarks and in like compared to traditional algorithms, AI started to perform better slightly, and that was a time where like approximately AlexNet came out, where it crashed ImageNet. So
Hmm.
like none of the traditional algorithms were able to do it back then. So
Yeah.
it was yeah, it was kind of obvious that AI will eventually be better at everything, but it was a big question of timing, like
Yeah.
when.
I think one of the advantages that you had being an early pioneer into this is you had the stock trading background where if you're trading stocks, you could be making hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a day. Well, you could go out there and build something that could be phenomenal for the world, whereas a lot of people don't really have that kind of advantage. And to be an early pioneer, like 10 to 12 years early on something and stick it through, not a lot of people have those resources that will be able to continue them down the path. And a lot of VCs and so forth weren't really investing back then as well. Do you think that gave you a pretty good advantage in building your technology further than a lot of other companies have developed thus far?
Yes and no. So the no part is the AI changes a lot
Yeah.
constantly. So we're constantly discovering new models, new approaches, etc. So it's a very hectic, very vibrant environment now. So I like basically most of the people can just jump into it and like dive, learn modern technologies, and they will be fine. But I think still the engineering part, like how this system behaves, what are the constraints, why is it important to compress information in a certain way, etc. Like different algorithms, different styles, all of that is definitely helpful, definitely. And we are seeing that even now we are kind of on the edge of what other people are doing. We just because we have all of these first principle understanding of AI, we can kind of extrapolate what will happen better. It's just our opinion. It's just our opinion that we think it will be in a certain way based on fundamentals we are seeing
Yeah.
and based on the past performance of AI models, technology in general.
That makes a lot of sense. So now let me switch my hat a little bit. Let's say I'm a programmer or a developer. Chances are I've learned a lot in school. I've done a lot of research on my
Mm-hmm.
own. But then when a problem arises, like maybe 5 years ago, what I would probably have done is look for like a community like GitHub to type in the problem I had and see a solution, kind of work
Yeah.
through it and test it and so forth to see if that really works or not. But now that AI is here, how is that kind of shaping the future of programming itself? Like, are these developers going to need these communities anymore? Are they going to be able to? Are they going to have to start thinking of creative solutions? Is that AI going to
Mm-hmm.
go out there and push them forward, or how does that kind of work?
Yeah, it's one of the toughest questions, but we think that like like at some point we understood that AI models are software itself,
Mhm.
and that kind of undermines all of the developer ecosystem of the traditional programming languages. So I will give you an example. We like let's take a developer. So developer writes a program by asking a stakeholder different questions, and a developer tries to extract knowledge, extract rules from a product owner or a stakeholder or someone who knows business, basically.
Mhm.
So a developer tries to extract it and put it into a program,
Yeah.
and this is a result. Models are doing exactly the same thing,
Yeah.
exactly, but just in a different form. a model consumes petabyte of data and megawatts of energy, and they try to find these rules inside this data set.
Yeah.
And in this comparison, it's kind of obvious that eventually people will lose. It's like you can dump, as I said, like megawatts, like tens of megawatts, maybe a gigawatt power inside a model, and no amount of humans will be able to compensate that. So eventually, all of the software in the world will become AI models, not like a traditional software. So this question, like, what is the future of programmers when we have all of this great AI which can write software, is kind of upside down, because currently we use AI models which writes classical software, which will become obsolete or will become just abundant, and everyone will be able to write software just from prompt engineering. And the main trend, the new market, the newest market which is emerging right now is this market of new software, AI models, and this is, as we think, one of the most important parts of this shift, because a lot of our companies still try to help developers write code, like improve developers, increase. Even we are our product also helping a developer to write better programs. But we see that it will be kind of, this trend will go to some end in the 5 to 10 years, and AI models will prevail.
I could see that. One of the things that I really saw that made a lot of sense when I was watching videos online is someone's like a developer, all they're really doing is giving instructions to a computer in the way that the computer can understand it. So as these AI models go out there and develop, what ends up happening is the developer, the programmer, me with no technical background, whoever it is, could be considered that developer because they're leading that program in the way it wants to go. What that does for all the specialized language, like the people who have the programming languages in the future, I don't really know. But then I also see it really empowering people who might not have studied programming in specific, may have like studied like predictive analytics or maybe like workflows and other processes, project management, and so forth. Really
Yeah.
being able to empower what they think and the processes that they develop and put them into a system like this. So you have this company, agentplace.io, and you also have Machinet. Can you tell me a little bit more about both of these?
Yeah, sure. So at Machinet, we are developing a like classical developer tool. We call it AI IDE, where developers can use an AI agent, to write software. And this AI agent can create software, can improve it, can fix bugs, etc. So it's kind of more like a reimagining of the old developer tools for developers like IDEs. It's working well. We have a lot of different developers across the world who are using this product. The biggest concern we have is the one I mentioned. Like overall, it looks very strange to use AI models to write software if these models are software itself. And and on top of that, there are so many new use cases which classical software like Python, Java, JavaScript, etc. just cannot do. You cannot write in Python a program which will seamlessly understand your speech and the picture. Like it's impossible. We humans, we don't know how to do it. That's why we created a neural net, an AI model which does it. And it like over time, these use cases will become like paramount. You will need a model which thinks like a human, but thinks for a long time in order to give you the most accurate answer, right? And you cannot substitute this with Python. Like
Yeah.
there's no way. So yeah, so it looks like we are on the fork between two different waves of programming.
Yeah.
One is like standard classical, which we created it. We use Python. We use programming languages for it: Python, Java, JavaScript, etc. And we just created a new computer. It's an AI model, which is new and very powerful.
Awesome. I think one thing that's really cool is if you're pretty young right now and you were like, oh, maybe I should go out there and learn how to code. If you could go out there and master
Mhm.
AI, you have a pretty good shot of having a pretty solid future for yourself. When you started these companies, there wasn't immediate demand for it because you started 10 to 12 years ago. Can you tell us a little bit about that grind, the grit that kind of went to it, and kind of attracting those customers and building that market share? Because as an early pioneer, like it wasn't the same as when ChatGPT came out.
We are like just like we started Machinet roughly 3 and 8 months
Mm-hmm.
ago, 3 years and 8 months ago. Uh, and Agent Place is a very recent company, so it's a brand new one. Yeah, and most like the we mostly were bounded by technology itself. So models, like just like 2 years ago, models were so dumb. It was they were so unintelligent that it was enormously hard to just give just to get a response from these models. And Yeah, we started from unit testing. It's kind of like unit testing. It's just testing inside programming, right? So you have to write code and then you have to test it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a 15% of the programmer's work, approximately. So it's a small task. We started from unit testing, and we were trying to make it work with old models, which is it was very hard, but we eventually we created one of the best solutions on the market, and we were featured by OpenAI
Oh,
for
wow.
this exact solution. And then ChatGPT came along. So then OpenAI released GPT 3.5, and it was a step change in models' ability to think. We started to morph our product into a more generalized assistant for developers. And right now, it's kind of in probably a fifth iteration of its form. Now it's not only an assistant. Now it's an AI agent which tries to help you as much as possible with the current limitations of AI models.
I think that's a
But
good
you're still in
thing.
charge, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing because as a marketer myself, there's tasks that I could do pretty easily, and there's tasks that kind of bog me down a bit and take a little bit more time where I do need the help. And I mean, that's the same for any career developer, programmer, car salesman, whatever it is. So, kind of having that assistant really gives a lot of leverage to help someone go out there and improve what they're doing. You said you had customers all across the world. What are some of the best things that people have been saying about this?
Best things you
Yeah,
at the
like
top.
where are some of the like a lot of people have been using your agents so far, right? Have you had any positive feedback from your clients saying, "Oh, this has really helped me through," anything like that?
Yeah, we are getting it across our applications. So we have two for AI assistants, and customers are creating different kind of apps, mostly for big enterprises and for Java and unit testing. And this is still one of the best app for testing and for working with a long context with inside a big enterprise projects. So this is the sweet spot for customers, and usually, if they are in a large code base, they are very happy with our solution.
That's really cool because when you think about a large organization, they have IT block off as many parameters as possible to cut off certain networks. So then, if an infection or something were to happen, it doesn't spread and take out the entire organization. So if you have this
Mm-hmm.
at every single step of the process, that really helps a big organization kind of maneuver, especially through all of the red tape that they kind of have in there. You mentioned earlier that Agent Place IO is a pretty new project. You want to discuss that a little bit?
Yeah, it's brand new, and this is our attempt to jump into this new paradigm of where, like, basically where an AI model is a software itself. So it will be we call it agentic websites. Uh, it is a combination of an AI model and the website, where every interaction of a user um, is like processing by an AI model under the hood. So AI model constantly in the loop and understands what is going on the website and renders personalized content on the website. And you can program it just by using text. You don't need any programming knowledge. So it looks like it's a no-brainer from different points. So we can create a website which is utilizes common sense of AI models. It will be personalized. It will be you can use it with speech capability as well, and at the same time you can program it with text.
That's
So
pretty
it looks like
cool.
it's a yeah.
I mean, even if you kind of go through the process of hiring a web developer, or not web developer, what would you call it? Yeah, web developer to go out
Front
there and
end.
build you a website. Like the first thing they always come up with isn't really that great, and you kind of have to give them feedback and say, "What about like this and like that?" So it sounds like what you're kind of able to do with this is build out a website in kind of the exact same way that you would be working with a front end developer or someone who's selling websites to really get your website to look the way you want. So I could see a lot of demand for something like that. And you just started it, so you don't really know where that's going as of yet.
Yeah. This is an open question. But we definitely know that the most important point here is the fact that AI model is at the core, and like AI model doesn't write Python code or JavaScript code. AI model itself, like um, launch launches AI like launches UI components. So it's because of that it's very dynamic, very fluid. So it's more like, as I said, it's more like a combination of ChatGPT and the website. So um, uh, you can guide it towards something. You can ask a question at any time, etc. So this is we look on this. So we basically think it's a new category of products,
I
and
think it's a
because
new
it's new,
category.
it's hard. Yeah.
It sounds like a new category, and as a marketer, that sounds like something, if marketed correctly, could pretty much take off because every single day someone's out there looking to start their new small business. Every day someone's out there looking to design something and build something. Then when you use like Squarespace, Stripe, or Shopify, whatever it may be, Wix, there's always these constraints of, oh, you can't do this, you can do this, you have to learn how to do this, and so forth. And I mean, guiding by text could probably be a pretty easy way for a lot of people to go out there and get exactly what they're looking for. Because I mean, I've tried building a website myself, and it doesn't look like how I pictured it in my head.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. It's a process.
There's a process. Well, we're about
Yeah,
to reach time, Vlad. Was there any final words that you kind of wanted to leave with our audience, or any takeaways that you kind of had through your AI journey?
yeah. I think probably the most important thing is like the this technology is one of the most um, biggest technologies of all times, and we just need to work on this, and especially in software and developer tools. For example, it definitely will be some kind of shift, a paradigm shift, where we will work with different tools in the future, completely different tools, and we will consume programs in different ways, and we will program them also differently. So that's kind of it's a big uncertainty, but at the same time, it's an opportunity.
Awesome. And where are people going to be able to find your websites again? There's machinet.net, machinet.net, correct?
Yeah,
And Agent Place, what's that website?
yeah, it's agentplace.io.
Perfect. And thank you so much, Vlad, for joining us for another episode of the Grit Daily Startup Show. Anyone who's looking to look for an AI assistant or an agent, make sure to go out there and visit machinet.net. And thank you so much for joining us for another episode. This is Leonard Kim and Vlad Yachenko, and thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.